But anyway, this is Kelsey. And she's going to share her story. Her baby is taking a nap, but she's kind of waking up, so I don't know. She may have to go get her here in just a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully
so,
she's safe.
Anyways, Kelsey, just if you want to, and if y'all have questions for her, go ahead and you can type them in, and I will let her know your questions. So I don't know how many people will be on at this time, but we will see.
Okay.
You can also email me later if you have questions. So we'll do that. But if you want to tell your story, we're just going to be real laid back, no notes or anything.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm happy to be on with y'all today and excited to kind of share a little bit about my journey with diastasis. I had my first baby back in December of 2014. She was almost 9 pounds. So I'm a smaller frame person, so my stomach did have to do some serious stretching. At the time, I had no idea what diastasis was. I did notice when I was doing some workouts during pregnancy a little bit of coning, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't really know that I probably already actually had diastasis.
Emily, I bet she'll get to that here in just a minute. She said, how did you determine that you had diastasis? So, yeah. But go ahead with your story. I'm sure you'll tell her.
Okay. So I went along with pregnancy, was induced, had the baby, got back home, and as a new mom, obviously you're kind of frustrated with your body already. Lost all my weight, but then kind of noticed as I was released to work out, I noticed that my stomach just didn't look normal. It had the pooch. And when I went for my 6-week checkup with my OB, he was like, oh, that's normal. He was like, it'll go away. Don't worry. You're being really hard on yourself. And I told him, and he's a very kind person, and he doesn't want you to feel like you did anything wrong. And I said, I appreciate you thinking that it's going to go away. But I said, I think it's actually there's actually something wrong. I said, it's not normal, not normal. Not all of us experience it. And I said that there's something I need to do probably to help it. So I am obviously, like we all do now, get on Google and Google, what's up with my stomach after baby. And I did, came across some articles and things like that, tried all what I could think of, did some exercises online. But if you've done any of the program, that it's really hard unless you have someone that is willing to really work with you and teach you how to breathe correctly, how to exercise correctly, and things like that. So how I found out was, like I said, I had lost all the weight and I was working out. So, I thought, okay, I'm working out. This should go away. And it didn't. It kind of almost like it was getting worse. So that's when I found Olivia. Thankfully, after lots of time, like I said, feeling very frustrated. People in my life I have never had any personal friends that experienced it. So to them, they're like, you look great. Why are you worried about that? You look great. And yes, from the outside looking in, I did look great, and I still felt, that something was not right.
And she's a Beachbody coach.
Yes. And so
probably
yes. And, sharing and I'm very open with my fitness journey and always have been. So sharing everything, with everyone, there's a scrutiny there, and you want to look perfect. You think, that's the hard thing is, obviously, like Olivia said, I am a Beachbody coach, and you see other coaches that just had babies and they bounce back like no other, and I just felt like, what did I do wrong? What did I do that caused this? And really I did nothing wrong. It's just, it was something that was out of my power, but I'm thankful that we're able to work with wonderful people to learn more about it. Did you want me to talk a little more about so when I did find Olivia, she walked me through how to test for it. When I did the test initially, I think Tylee was about 3 months old. I had about a 3.5, some right below my belly button, was about 4-finger wide gap. So, not a small gap. It was a large gap. And I think that's what, and if you have done it, when I lay down on my back and you could just literally, I felt like I could stick I could stick 4 fingers in between my ab muscles. And I was like, oh my gosh. It doesn't make it real until you lay on your back and you really feel that separation. That was, I think, the thing that really made me realize that this was not weight I needed to lose. This was not, crunches weren't going to help this. I was going to have to really work to strengthen from the inside out. So
it's scary if you don't know what to do.
Right. And like I said, no one personally around me, and even my doctor, which is kind of scary because he delivers hundreds of babies and he deals with hundreds of moms, and he had no idea about it. It's just, I feel like it's one of those things that women have been probably experiencing for a very long time, but it's just one of those things that people aren't aware of. They just kind of live with it and they don't even know they have it. And I think the neat thing with my experience has been now that when I talk to other moms, I'll point them to Olivia for help, but just for them to know that, they're always working so hard, but they're not seeing the results they want, and they get very frustrated. And, we many times as moms ask ourselves, what did I do to, why, what did I do,
Right.
And like I said, you
it's not fair
them.
when you see some women have babies and you're like, how did they get that back?
Yes.
Yeah.
And guys, I gained 25 pounds pregnant. So I didn't, it wasn't anything it wasn't excessive weight gain for me. It just was, my ab muscles just, either something I did, maybe I probably maybe did work out a little bit too hard during pregnancy with some, I wasn't aware it was my first pregnancy. I wasn't aware that I shouldn't be doing certain things, that probably might have added to it. But,
and here's one of the misconceptions is they've debunked that myth now that you don't have to keep your heart rate under a certain amount when you're working out. So these women kill it now. So
yeah.
It may be safe for the baby, but what they don't understand is they're actually hurting themselves. They're hurting their pelvic floors. They're hurting, those abs in there. If there's some things going on, so you can hurt yourself.
Right. And I'd like to add that I'm still dealing with this. When I work out, I want to work out hard. I'm just one of those people that if I'm going to work out, I want to, and Olivia's been helping me, she's like, it's okay to go on long walks. It's okay to do more strenuous things. But I'm just one of those people that enjoys hard workouts. And I've had to really teach myself that, Kelsey, just because it's a hard workout doesn't necessarily mean that's what your body needs. I've got to, we expect ourselves to just bounce right back, right away. Like Olivia said, I have friends that, and this is what frustrates me the most, is I have friends that didn't work out at all, gained a lot more weight than me, and they look wonderful. They have nothing wrong. I'm like, I did everything right. I ate healthy. I took care of my body while I was pregnant, and I got stretch marks way more than they got, and I have diastasis, but it's just, I feel like God he doesn't give anything we can't handle. So I'm going to just use my experiences to, help other women know that they can overcome it.
So what would you say is one of the biggest things you've learned to help you, to heal it and to help, because you can share with them too that you can reopen it. I mean, we don't have to share that right now if you want to.
Yes. Okay. For sure. I went through Olivia's program. I did the breathing exercises initially before she had the boot camp. Then I went through the boot camp with her with the exercises, really learning how to activate all of those muscles while you're working out. Because it's very easy to forget when you're doing certain movements to keep everything activated. And it's a lot, it took me a long time to learn. It took a lot of thinking. When I work, sometimes when you work out, you put the music on and you just go. Now I have to really be conscious of what I'm doing. It's not about doing more. It's about doing it, slower and more concise movements. And like she said about the reopening. So now I went through the program. I am about
Yeah. You close. How much did you close up to?
I'm to a 1, and I'm still mainly to a 1 when when I'm doing my breathing exercises and stuff and really focusing on my alignment. I notice that if I say, one day I skip my exercises and I'm really out of a line, I don't pay attention to what I'm doing, bending over to pick heavy things up, will reopen my gap. And I was just telling Olivia a while ago that I noticed that my gap has, that it seems a little bit wider than it normally is on a daily basis. And as you've seen the push-up challenge floating around on Facebook, I was like, oh man, let's go. Being, like I said, how I am about want to work out hard, instead of being smart and going to my knees like I should have, and where I can really activate while I'm doing it, I thought, I'll do it on my toes. I got this. So I was on like about day 6, and I've really noticed a difference in it. Just even the 22 push-ups, I've just noticed, and I could feel a difference when I was doing it. That's why I knew I shouldn't have done it, but of course I did it anyway.
Why it's so important to listen to your body and what you're ready for. So, and you would think that you would be ready for it, but I know that it's so frustrating for some women to not be able to do that push-up like they want to, or, so maybe then I was telling Kelsey, maybe getting in an elevated push-up on a stability ball, like your arms are on the stability ball, because that gives you a sense of you have to balance that, so you're gonna be working your chest and you just gotta really put your mind to what you're doing to work those muscles out as well. But can you, when you're doing the push-ups, can you lift your pelvic floor and breathe and
I can when I'm right now when I'm on my knees, I can. I can do it on my toes, on my, like a regular push-up for about 5 or 10, but after about 10, I notice then I'm focusing more on my arms than on everything else.
Okay.
So I feel like when I get fatigued is when I stop worrying. Then, when you're fatigued, then when it's hard to keep everything in. So I've noticed that on my knees, though, I am able to really focus on my, pulling everything in and pulling my pelvic floor up.
And that seems to help. So like if you wouldn't have overdone the push-up challenge, maybe if you'd have gone to your knees, you could have done better.
Like I said, I was like, I have to video this. I'm going to make sure I do that's just, and we have to get that out of our mind. I have to realize that this is my best and this is what's smart for my body. It doesn't matter what someone, I'm not out there to be, pushed up challenge winner or anything. So at that point I should have made a smarter decision and not do it.
But it's hard when you want to work out that hard. You have to find other things that you can do.
And it's hard. It's mainly hard when you see others doing it that are in the same, your friends and your fellow Beachbody coaches. You see them doing it, and most of my close friends that are Beachbody coaches, they also have babies. My daughter Tylee's age, and so you see them doing your thing. Well, they just had a baby too. Why can't? And you just have to realize that every situation is so different. We all recover differently. We all have to work out differently to do the best for our body.
And that's like the same thing with people who can eat bad food forever. And some people can eat a little bit of bad food and they can get sick. Literally sick. And that's just there's weak links sometimes in our bodies, and all of us are different. So, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. But, so there's a weak link there. So we have to know how to be careful. But this also helped you to educate yourself more on nutrition, right? So
for sure.
Let's talk about nutrition-wise, what has helped you because women with diastasis deal with bloating a whole lot. And with that, especially with that linea alba, the connective tissue that runs down the middle that is connecting those ab muscles that gets thin and separates. When you bloat and you're already separating, it's going to push all that out more, and you're going to notice it more. So
Yes. I did the 21 Day Fix Eating program at the very beginning. At that point, I had not cut out gluten, I had not cut out dairy, and I had noticed my bloating being very bad. I love cheese, I love yogurt, always have, but I thought, I've got to find a balance. I figured, when I tried cutting it out for good, cold turkey, none of it, I noticed that I was less successful because I felt kind of deprived. So now I've learned that I can have, and it's really about finding those different things that you can have. I can have Ezekiel bread. Yes, that has gluten in it, but for some reason, whatever grain is in that does not react to my stomach as much. But like I said, I have to limit it. I have to make sure then if I have that I don't eat, you kind of have to pick your battle. You have to pick, okay, I'm going to enjoy this, but later on I'm going to have to really be sure I don't overdo it at dinner. So if you have it at lunch. I have also noticed that if you do have gluten or dairy, keeping it earlier in the day has helped me. I don't know why. I mean, I think it's different for everyone, but I feel like when I have those earlier in the day, I don't notice as big of a difference. I think because in the afternoon, our muscles become, they're tired in the afternoon anyway, so they tend to push out more. So then if you have a big meal at dinner with gluten or with dairy, I feel like then I really become very bloated.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And dairy's really, like I said, dairy's not a problem. I'll have a little bit of cheese here and there, and it doesn't bother me, but I feel like everything, a lot of things have gluten in it. Things that we don't even know have gluten in it. So you have to be very selective on what you do. And so what I found is just when I eat fruit, and I try not, another thing I was talking about was fruit. Fruit seems to, because we don't think about fruit having carbs in it or the sugars and stuff. And I feel like sugar really bloats my stomach too. I don't know, something in the, something with the sugar does that. But if I limit my fruit intake to about 2 servings a day, it's a lot better.
And somebody said on here that was the same for them with the bloating and stuff, but she's doing better since she's healing up some.
And another thing I've learned is that some people can have one cheat meal and be fine. But say I'm like, oh, okay, well, today I'm going to have a cheat meal. That doesn't work for me. I've learned that I can't really just, then I'm paying for it the next day. And then, so all that hard work I did throughout the week, I've kind of learned just to, throughout the week, have a little bit of, smaller, add a little bit of dairy into one meal if I wouldn't have, because I feel like then if I just have a, like a huge meal, my stomach's not used to it, then that's when I become bloated. Also, smaller meals seem to work better for me. Yeah. If I eat smaller meals throughout the day instead of one large meal, then I don't feel nearly as bloated either. I feel like my stomach can digest it before the next meal.
How about, because I talk about this in my boot camps, my diastasis boot camps, is intermittent fasting. Does that help you with bloating?
Yes, I went through an intermittent fasting program, and I really liked it. I have been doing it this summer. I am not doing it full blown like I had been, but I am fasting. I'm trying to stop eating by about 7:30 in the evening, because summertime is so hard with we don't have a very good schedule. I'm a teacher, so we're off and we're going and we're doing. I try to stop eating about 7:30 and then fast as long as I can the next morning. I get up and I usually work out. I do fasted cardio or fasted. My workout is always fasted in the morning. And then I will have some lemon water usually after that. And then something small like nuts to break my fast. I try not to break my fast with anything heavy or large, and then have like a fresh salad for lunch. And then something, we try to eat dinner as early as possible. But like I said, it is hard during the summer being off. But then, like I said, being conscious of what I'm eating that last meal before I start to fast the next day. But I have really noticed my bloating with that program has gone down a lot.
The fasting's helped too. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's gives some women some options to try, the gluten, the dairy, the intermittent fasting. If you have questions about the intermittent fasting, you can also email me. I'll be happy to talk to you. I'm trying to think what else I could ask. I was saying we're doing this really laid back without notes. I just wanted to let y'all hear her story because I know some of you feel the same way. I know one thing that a lot of women deal with is back pain with diastasis, and you did too, right?
Can you say that again? It cut out a little bit.
You dealt with back pain with diastasis, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I had some lower back pain, and that's kind of when I knew that I need, that something was wrong with my core, because I've always heard, if you have a weak core, then that usually affects your back. So I did have some lower back pain, and like I said, when I'm sitting, which right now I'm kind of slumped over because I'm trying to keep my head in the view. But when I sit up straight throughout the day when I teach, I really do feel a lot better. If I let my shoulders slump and stuff, my back would start to hurt again. And when I would talk to Olivia and let her know, we would check in throughout the week, and she would ask how I was doing. And if I said my back was hurting, she said, well, how was your alignment? And we always forget, we forget that we need to, when we're standing, and like I said, just our everyday activities, we don't think about how it's affecting our body. Those small minutes of me slumping over, ultimately could lead to back pain. So yes, I did deal with some back pain, but after, getting, as my gap started to close up, I did notice a decrease in that pain.
Yeah. And that's really good because women are like, my back hurts so bad, and they feel unprotected. So we've got to start those breathing homework. We got to get the breathing going.
And, one thing I wanted to add is that when I was breastfeeding, that was the hardest time, because I felt like that kind of added to that, because you're slumped over, you're holding the baby, you get in weird positions with them to do whatever you need to do to get them happy. And so I felt like that was when my back hurt the worst, was when I was breastfeeding, because like I said, you're holding baby a lot, and my child was 9 pounds and big, so it was like, it did when in my shoulders, it was hard to sit up. It was hard to sit up in alignment while breastfeeding. And I know there's a lot of different positions you can try to help with, to help you keep in alignment while you're doing that, but
still hurt. And sometimes I tell people, like, when you have to do alignment all the time, and I try to get on the floor in different positions and move around a whole lot more, but I just sometimes say, I just want to rebel and slouch on the couch. Because don't you want to do that? Yes. It's not easy getting those muscles strong, because we've had a lifetime of living in incorrect alignment, which is what causes intra-abdominal pressures in the first place and incorrect breathing. So we've got to learn how to function normally, what's supposed to be our normal again. And so
very hard to break those habits.
Yes, it's very hard. But do you have any other last encouraging words or anything you could tell them?
I just want to tell you that you can do it. It will be for some people, it happens very fast. So try not to compare your journey with anybody else's. That's what I've learned. In different boot camps and stuff I've been in, there might be one mom that does the workouts and the exercising programs, for 1 week, and she's healed. And for me, it took months, and it's still a work in progress. So I just want to say, don't give up. It's worth it. Yes, it is frustrating, but know that you have a wonderful group of support behind you. Olivia is wonderful. I couldn't imagine working with anyone else.
You're so sweet.
I just, I feel like you just really have to commit and just realize that, this is what you've been dealt, and you deal with it in a positive way. And like I said, use it to help others, and share your story with people, and, lean on those that are dealing with the same things. because you're not the only one. And sometimes you do feel that way, but you're not. And some people just aren't comfortable either letting you know. Some people just don't know they have it. So you just have to really realize that you're on this journey and, it's yours. And that's what makes it special. So do your best and just take your time and it'll get there. There's frustrating days though. I mean, couldn't say there's not. I would be lying if I said there wasn't. There's days that, you're going to feel like you're not seeing any progress, but then there's going to be that day that you finally, you check again and it's, oh my gosh, it's now 2 fingers, or now it's, it was 4, now it's 3. And you can celebrate that with the ladies, that are sharing it with you. Like I said, I would tell my husband and he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's like, good, honey, but I don't know what you're talking about. And even my friends, my friends haven't experienced it. So they're like, you look wonderful. Stop. And I'm like, but you don't Yeah. And I think it's wonderful that we have, social media has allowed us to connect with so many people and share our stories. Some people are, if without this, I wouldn't have been able to meet Olivia or anything like that. So I think it's wonderful that we're using this in a positive way to share and encourage other women.
And so just listen to her. She's just giving y'all tons of wisdom and encouragement to really love that you said focus on your journey and nobody else's, because that's so important. There are some women who close up fast. Other ones, it takes a while and it can be a longer journey.
And I always tell other women that are on just weight loss journeys too, in general, put your blinders on. Don't worry about what someone is doing next to you. It's about you, so it is hard, comparison is, we all experience that, we want to compare our story to someone else's, and you just can't, because our bodies are all so different and they heal differently and they, differently with everything.
It can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then you compare and you're like, oh.
Yeah. So if you find yourself scrolling through your news feed, oh my God, look at that, Mom. That's when I just put my phone, put it down and say, okay, I'm going to do some breathing exercises.
There you go.
What someone else is doing.
Yeah, that's good. Well, if y'all have any questions, you can email me at livycagle@gmail.com. It's livicagle@gmail.com. And I offer free 20-minute consultations if you have any questions at all, so I can help you with. I actually have to hop on a phone call with a couple ladies today to talk to them. And I run boot camps. I try to do it every 4 to 8 weeks, diastasis boot camps. I'm having one opening up on Monday, June 13th. So, but like I said, you can call and we can you have any questions or concerns, I would be happy to talk to you. But Kelsey, thank you so much. You've been such an encouragement to these women that are going through all this.
Thank you. Yes, y'all are wonderful. Y'all will get there and accomplish everything you want.
That's right. All right. Well, I'm going to turn off Periscope now, and let's see if I can do this. Okay. And let me turn off this. So if anybody's watching this recording, all right, let's see how we stopped it. There we go.